You've been showing up every day, posting your reels, posting your stories, responding back to DMs, and it just feels like your audience growth is not moving as quickly as you want it to. This is a good sign that what we need to be looking at is the method that you're using, because a lot of people focus on consistency when they think of audience growth. Let me just keep showing up. Let me post more. Maybe I just need to be in all the places at once. But the thing is, if you are being consistent and you are showing up continually for a strategy that's just not the right strategy, it's not going to get you where you really want to go. So today I'm breaking down 3 things that are actually killing your audience growth and what to do instead. Because if you're tired of trading your time and presence for a possibility of visibility, then this episode is for you. Welcome to the Savvy Founder Podcast, where vision meets strategy. Get ready to unlock the power of mindset and entrepreneurship and demystify the art of systemizing your business for success. I'm your host, Janae Reed, an engineer turned master mindset coach and systems expert. Are you ready to transform your business and mindset? Then let's dive in and make your vision a reality right here on the Savvy Founder Podcast. Okay. Let's just dive in. For the purpose of this podcast episode, I'm going to assume that your primary platform for building your business is on Instagram. My reason for that is a lot of the clients that work with me privately and past clients tend to have Instagram as their primary platform before we work together. And so if you, for some reason, if you happen to be one of the people who are not primarily on Instagram, then take what fits and leave what doesn't, because the principles of this will still be true, but just want to let you know that's what we're focusing on. So if you're building on a platform like Instagram, for example, that is a platform that you don't control, you don't own. There are changes that are going to be happening all the time that will impact how you show up, how your content performs, and ultimately what is causing more traffic to come into your business that you really don't have a say in. This can show up as various different things. It can be algorithm changes, right? Maybe your reach changes seemingly overnight, or you will start to see, policy shifts in terms of what content can you post, what can you not post, what can you say, what can you not say, or maybe features change, features are added. So then you have to tweak what you need to do in order to achieve the same result that you used to. None of those things are in your hands. None of those things are decisions that you are consulted about before they're made. You are at the whim of something that you ultimately can't control. And if this is how you've decided to lead your business, part of the game that you're playing is to make sure that you're constantly aware and up to date on the changes that are happening in order to prevent you from losing the momentum that you've worked so hard to build. So why is this something that tends to kill audience growth? I want to dive into that. One, it's the fact that the audience isn't really yours, right? The platform is really controlling access. The platform can take your account away. The platform can change who you're able to reach. Your reach is literally at the mercy of what the algorithm rewards this week, today. And so there's always this, how do I keep up to date on what's going on? And to me, the trap of this, especially for people who are in business that really have a limited amount of time, that they don't have hours to spend every day just to dedicate to these platforms, is that you could spend years, and I did this, building a following, and then Instagram decides the reels need to be longer, shorter, or they prioritize new feature, and they start to cut reach and start to push more paid ads. And then suddenly all of that work that you've done shifts overnight. And I think that if Instagram disappeared tomorrow, the good question to ask yourself is, would you still have a business? And that's true for any platform that you're building. And if the answer is no, then you're not building a business. You are renting space on someone else's platform and you're putting all your eggs in that basket, which is why it's so important for you to actually grow your audience on a platform that you own. Okay. The second thing that I really want to dive into is that you might be trading your time, your energy for the possibility of visibility. And so the issue that I see here is that if your current method of being visible, of marketing, requires consistent short form videos. It requires you to always be posting, say, for example, to your stories, which is something that's always disappearing, which means that you're recreating something regularly. If you are needing to engage, then you are literally in this game of trading your time and your energy, your presence for visibility that may or may not even convert. I was actually talking to a client recently, and I know for a fact that she has been growing her audience on Instagram for years. Her content is amazing. If you look at it, the branding, you can recognize it. Her messaging is clear, but the actual conversions behind it are not consistent. And that's what I mean when I say a lot of times it's a matter of, it's not that you need to spend more time. It's not that you need to work harder. You've been doing all of those things. I honestly think sometimes this is just asking yourself the honest question of, is this really working? Is this really working for the purpose I want it to? Not, am I growing in followers? Am I getting more likes? But is it actually converting? And so when you are using volume-based strategies, to me, it punishes the people that are limited on time, that have full lives, because it's a game that you can't really give everything to, and everything is not even always rewarded. If you're someone who's busy and you have a full life, everything is a balancing act, right? It's okay, I'm making time for this, but I know that in return it will kind of have this. And when you're using volume-based strategies, that balance is not really restored. And so the reason why this is one of the ways that you are killing your audience growth is really just because it's not scalable. Unless you start to outsource, unless you hire someone to buy yourself more time so that they can do it quicker for you, or hopefully you're not doing this, but you outsource all of your messaging to AI, there's really no way of actually being able to deliver at scale what the platform's really looking for. And so because of that, it makes it where burnout is inevitable. It's going to happen. And the second that you have to stop, you have to pause, you go on vacation, you take a break, your visibility, your showing up, you staying top of mind completely drops off as well. And I think that this is such a big issue because in an industry where we have messaging like just batch the content, or, the most important thing is to be more consistent. That's like telling someone, just go run faster on a treadmill when they're already at max speed. It's telling the person who already isn't getting sleep, just stay up a little bit longer. It'll be worth your while. Obviously, it's a problem with the method. That is the problem. It's not just a matter of you putting in more to make it work. And so if you are currently in this place where your business model, the way that you market, the way that you get visible, requires you to sacrifice the life that you really are trying to build. Now, let me rewind. The context that I'm really speaking to is if you know that your end goal is freedom, and freedom is very multi-layered. Freedom looks very different to different people. It can be time freedom, financial freedom, but you are looking to have abundance and you don't want to feel like you're sacrificing the things that really matter to you in order to achieve that. This is a classic way of how to not build, because it won't get you where you really want to go. You might in the short term get a result you want. You might start getting sales. You might start seeing clients come in, but is it something that's sustainable? Because I am not in business for the short term. I don't want to have just one-off launches that work well. I want something that is going to perform over and over time. I know that I want freedom that can survive multiple stages of life. I don't want to build a trap for myself where maybe right now I can make it work. I can make that sacrifice, but down the line, it's too much. So this is the second one. Another issue that I see come up a lot is focusing on very short-term assets. And I actually think this is very subconscious for a lot of business owners. They are making a lot of content that just doesn't last at least a week. Like, I want content that is going to continue getting new eyes for at least a week. And that's just not what they're doing. They're focusing on short form video. Reels are notorious for not getting a lot of views after the initial few days. Or if you're primarily putting a lot of your time and energy into making sure your story circle stays active, it's disappearing after 24 hours. You are creating, at that point, if that's what you're doing, you are creating content that has zero long-term value, meaning that if a week from now you weren't actually making any new content and someone happened upon your page, that's not what's going to pop up for them. It's not actually working for you beyond that moment of, is the person there at the right time when you're posting it enough, when the algorithm is pushing it out, to see it in that like there's so many odds that you're stacking against yourself when you're building in this way where everything is based on short-term assets. And so you might be thinking, okay, how does this kill my audience growth? Well, for one, it's a reset process that's continuously happening. You're almost always starting back at zero. There is no ability for the compounding effect to really step in and take over, which means that your last week's content isn't working for you this week. That amazing video you dropped a month ago isn't still getting you traffic today. You are spending time, effort, creating these high quality reels, getting a few hundred, maybe 1,000 views in the 48 hours, but then it's done. That's not audience growth. It's really just having a content treadmill. In my mind, I literally see the image of the gerbils that are like on those wheels where they're just spinning in place and they're like going, and they're expending all this energy and there's nowhere for them to go because it's completely planted in the same spot. That's literally what's happening. And then we're wondering, why don't I feel lit up? Why don't I have ideas? Why do I not feel like I'm in a flow state? And it's like, because you're giving, but you're not getting back at the same magnitude, and it has nothing to do with what you're inputting. It has to do with literally the fact that you're on this wheel that is stuck in place. So what if you could create something once and have it work for you for years? That's what happens when you build assets and not just content. I've done this over the last 2 years and I still get traffic to my site, to landing pages, people opting in for things from content I posted 2 years ago, which I remember when I was only focused on Instagram, this was literally impossible. There was no way I could possibly do this. And so you might be thinking, okay, Janae, I get it. What do I need to be doing instead? And no, before you get ahead of yourself, I'm not the person to tell you to post more. I'm not going to tell you to work harder, to just sacrifice in this stage of life. To me, the thing that I did and what I recommend all my clients do is to stop solely building on platforms that you don't control and to start building systems that actually can work for you and work harder for you than you work for them. Because with any system, there's always going to be the initial upfront work to get it built, but then after that there's just this maintenance period that happens where you're refining, you're making sure it's working the way you want it to, and you really are starting to reap the rewards of what you built. So I'm going to break this down into 4 different areas because this is what I've been doing for the last 2 years and it's literally changed the way I've ran my business. The first part is focusing on search first content. There are multiple platforms that do this. Pinterest does this, YouTube does this, Google does this, TikTok, the search side of TikTok does this. This is where you show up where your dream clients are already searching. When people are actively looking for solutions to their problem, they are met with your content. This is a very different way of being found compared to someone just randomly scrolling in the weight room trying to burn time and just seeing content versus someone who's actively looking for a solution to their problem and your content is the one that shows up. This allows your content to potentially rank for years to come, not days, not weeks, not even months. And this is a way to leverage the compounding effect because what you are creating is lasting for a longer period of time. The second aspect to this is to automate the way that you achieve lead generation. I like to use lead ads for this because they don't cost a lot and it actually is something that can piggyback really well off of number 1, but I'll talk about that next. But this is really just capturing emails, getting people on your email list, nurturing them, getting them to convert into your other offers, allowing your audience to grow on autopilot. And when I say grow your audience, I mean having them on a platform that is yours, your email list where you can reach them. You have a much higher chance of getting more eyeballs on your things than when you post on social media. I know from most accounts that I have seen and audited, you don't even get in front of 10% of your followers on average compared to what the average open rate is for emails. It's such a different ball game when you are actually growing your own audience on your platform. This also helps you not have to be present 24/7, and you start to have systems that work while you're out living your life. Now, this third part is my favorite part because I feel like it's just such a smart way to use what tends to be a potential downfall of search first content, and also a potential issue that people have with lead ads, which is to retarget in order to build trust. So when you're using search first content, that tends to bring you your traffic, Pinterest, YouTube, Google, right? You can get ranked and you can continuously have traffic. That traffic tends to be cold traffic. Very rarely, like almost never, is it warm traffic, people who are finding you there. So because of that, if you're able to capture that cold search traffic and retarget them with warm content, you are essentially filling a potential hole that tends to come up when you're using strategies like this. Additionally, it takes the cost of your lead ads way down. You build trust without being glued to constantly making new content in your stories, without having to recreate new things, but instead using assets that you probably already have created. This allows what was a really cold audience to become warm leads. Okay. Now, the last part of this that really helps optimize this entire strategy is the data-driven optimization. This is an absolute must. If you are not looking at your data, I feel like we can't complain about anything else, because our business is always talking to us. It's always letting us know what's going on. It's giving us feedback, and it's important that you track the data that actually matters. Your outbound clicks, your traffic, your leads, your sales. Where are they coming from? How are they converting? What are you changing? How is that impacting the numbers? This is not like, I want you to forget about all of the vanity metrics that you've been conditioned to think about, likes, comments, followers. It doesn't matter, because a lot of people will grow those things, but then the bottom line of their business isn't growing. Their sales aren't growing. They're not getting more leads. They're not getting more traffic. So this is about optimizing based on actual data, your data, and in order to actually drive real business growth. Because if you start to understand your data, you know what it's telling you, you then also know what you need to change in order to improve your metrics. And it just becomes this game of how well can you pay attention? How well can you tweak? And honestly, it gets easier and easier over time. And this is also something that really contributes to the compounding effect in your business. And what happens after you have all of these things together, when you build on search and you automate and you have data, instead of just relying on you being present and having a volume, quantity, a high quantity of content that you're constantly putting out, you get to start to have your time back and your business will grow. That is a massive shift to take place. This is exactly what we're building inside of Audience Growth Engine, which is my new group program launching at the beginning of July. We're taking the 3-pillar system I just walked you through and implementing it step by step. Pinterest strategy, leads, ads, retargeting, SEO, data tracking, everything you need to grow your audience without being trapped on that constant content creation hamster wheel. This is the first time that I'm offering this as a group program. Up until now, I've literally just been doing this with one-to-one clients, but I really want this to be more accessible to more people. So what's really special about this round is that the price will never be this low again. It will be a small group of people, meaning that you will have real support, more hands-on from me, and more access to me than any future round. This is really for the moms, especially the coaches and course creators who are tired of constantly creating short form videos, tired of constantly feeling like they are building a business that is just punishing them for having a life, for having a family. If you've been waiting for a sustainable way to grow your audience, one that doesn't require you to post reels every day or constantly show up in your stories or sacrifice your presence with your families, this is it. The doors will open early July. The waitlist is open now. I will add the link to the show notes. And if you join the waitlist, you'll get a special bonus, and you will also get first access when the doors open. Just go to the link and get on the list, and I can't wait to build this with you.